Hello and welcome to my video on how to make your own anime or comic or cartoonish grip tape using spray paint and stencils. I hope you'll enjoy my video on it and it will help you doing your own anime or cartoon grip tape. So those are some examples for results you can get using this method, using the stencils for the big parts and drawing the details by hand. And I myself can't draw for my life, so it's real easy, you'll get it. And yeah, the bottom one, Komuzuke, or however you pronounce his or her name, from Konosuba is the one we'll do today, and I'll use as an example for teaching you how to do it. Let's start off by talking about what we'll need. We'll need some spray paint and some paint markers. The spray paint will be used for the big parts, which we'll use some stencils for, and the paint markers will be used for the outline and the smaller details. You don't have to get any specific kind or brand, pretty much any kind will do. When choosing a picture, you want to find a simple and clean one with solid colors. For starters, I'd recommend choosing one with 3 main colors. You don't want a picture with fades or similar things, making the process more difficult. If you want your picture to be bigger than just one page, I'll link a tutorial to PostRaiser down in the description. It's the software I used to make mine bigger and I really like it. Even though it's quite old, it still works. So after using PostRaiser and printing out a photo, it can be in low resolution and quality, it doesn't really matter, and in black and white, because you have the reference picture and you know what to use, which colors are which. You basically want, it has an overhang, so you want to cut off this edge and glue the pictures together. So let's do it. Having glued it together with some clear tape, preferably clear tape, you can use other tape, but you won't be able to see the details, so try to use clear tape if you have one. Now we will proceed to cutting. So now I've done the first stencil, the black one, the one with the least detail. And as you can see, I didn't really worry to preserve the bit of yellow down there and follow the white shape, because I'll paint yellow after the black, so I'll just cover the things I've already covered with black that should be yellow and yellow again. So I like to cut off a bit more of the first color than necessary, so I don't have to worry about leaving a gap if I mess up the other stencil a bit. Yeah, let's continue with the next one, the red one. This one does have a bit more detail than a black one. As you can see, we kind of have the whole ribbon and the 2 buttons, but it's just those things, the zigzag on the ribbon, that's actually red. But I didn't worry about preserving the triangles. I just painted the whole thing red, and I'll fix it later. So with the yellow one, we'll just preserve the red zigzag and paint the triangles yellow again. You might think you'll lose a lot of grip doing this technique because you have 3 layers of paint. And it is that way, but if you just do it on the detailed areas, it won't matter much, because it's just a bit of grip you lose and not the whole grip tape. On larger areas, I wouldn't try painting 3 coats. You want to use the least amount of paint possible. Another important thing when thinking about how you cut the stencils is really keeping in mind the order you want to spray paint them in. Because if I, for example, did the yellow one first and did the red one afterwards, you wouldn't see much of the yellow triangles. So when using this kind of stencil technique, which is useful to avoid bridges and gaps you have to cover up with your paint markers afterwards, you really have to keep in mind and think about the order you do it in. And it can be annoying at times, but it's easier than doing the bridges and having your pieces fall off all the time. So now that we're outside and have set up the whole grip tape with covering up the parts which are not covered by the stencil with some paper so we don't get any nasty overspray, I'll talk about the paint I'll be using. You just want to use some spray paint you get at the hardware store. I got some cheap one and some better ones too. The one take one, for example. It doesn't really matter for this kind of stuff, but if you have the ability to get the better one, you might want to. As for caps, if you have kind of experience with spray paint, you want to use a soft to skinny cap. You don't want to use a fat cap because you don't want too much paint on your grip tape because you'll lose grip eventually. When prepping the paint, keep in mind you want to shake it about 3 to 4 minutes if you have like a brand new spray paint upside down like this, or you will clog the cap or the can, and I've wasted cans before like that and it's really frustrating. So you don't want to do it, just shake the can and be patient. Yeah, then you will want to do some test sprays on some cupboard or board until you have some nice and even spray like this. And with some new cans it might come some gooey stuff out at first, so really think of the test spray, you don't want that stuff on your grip tape. So now you can see the reason you always want to do a quick test spray with your cans. Here you see I've just gotten a fairly new can and it just sprays out this weird gooey-ish material, and after a while it starts to have a nice, normal, even paint flow. So always test spray, you don't want to have that weird gooey stuff on your grip tape. When spraying on the grip tape, don't keep your can in one spot for too long or you will have a puddle of paint on your grip. Again, it won't look good and you will lose grip. So just be patient, and if you're doing this for the first time, try to go a bit further away and just try it out. And if you need to, just do 2 coats of 2 thin coats instead of 1 thick one, so you'll have more grip. So I just finished painting the grip, and another really important thing is to keep the stencil, especially on some flimsy printer paper, propped down with some stones and your other cans, because the pressurized paint might blow it up and you will have overspray somewhere you don't want to have it. So keep that in mind, and it's real windy today, so not the ideal weather. So here's another thing you will run into, especially using red. Reds tend to not cover as good. Here you see I don't really get the poppy red I got on the white paper, so I'll just have to wait like 2 minutes and throw another coat on. And especially because this is just a detail area, I don't really have to worry about losing grip. I just did the last stencil, the yellow one, the most detailed one, and now you can see what I meant with the preserving the red lines and just spraying the yellow over the red paint. So you see we have the yellow paint there without using any bridges and still kept the red lines. But as you can see, I've messed up and I put the stencil too far downward. We still wanted to keep this red line down there, but it's not there anymore because I painted over it and didn't place the stencil correctly. But I don't really have to worry about that much, because I can correct it later with a paint marker when doing the detail. So let's get on to that one. Having done all your stencils, now's the time to grab your paint markers. I'm using Molotow ones, but you can use any kind. Grab them and get a hold of your reference picture and just do the detail and fix the problems you've produced by, for example, misplacing the stencil. So let's get on with it. I've just finished painting the details and the outline, and you can see the grip tape now looks way closer to the original than it did before. You see I've just corrected the overspray I had there and the red that wasn't there. And the red that was too high, I've just overpainted with the outline. So now we have something resembling the original drawing. Of course, it's not as detailed and the lines aren't as clear, but that's normal when painting on grip tape. I hope my small tutorial on how to do a simple anime character grip job was useful to you, and if so, feel free to leave a like and comment down below if you have any further questions. And have a great day.